What's up, everybody? It's the Best Buy Kids Smooth, and I'm back with a video. And today I want to talk about Microsoft and Xbox Series X and S. And have Microsoft already failed their premier consoles? Let's talk about it. All right, so let's talk about the Xbox Series X and S. So obviously, Xbox released these consoles November 2020. They came out to like a decent amount of hype and whatnot, but the launch was hampered by the lack of games, lack of new UI, just two sexy looking consoles, but that did really nothing new. It didn't really start getting games until like the following year. We had exclusives like, the Medium, and Psychonauts 2 came, Forza Horizon 5, Game of the Year type game, Halo Infinite was great, but it, was very limited in scope and it became unfinished. And then the biggest thing of 2020, like the first year or so of Xbox Series X is more so was FPS boost, which was great. It was like free remasters via system update. And then there was like the Game Pass drops that, Xbox was getting and still continue to get. But right now, the Xbox is just an unpopular platform console, especially in the console space compared to PlayStation and compared to Nintendo. And that's really by the fault of Microsoft and Xbox themselves. They're not doing themselves any favors in the console space. They're not doing themselves any favors in the gaming space. They're not really helping themselves. Sure, they've had, major acquisitions, which has been, obviously ZeniMax. They did that in 2021, and they've been carrying Xbox in 2023. They have the ABK deal, which is pending and is probably going to be approved sometime in the next month or two. They have that situation going on that stayed in the headlines, but for the console itself, they haven't really made the noise, especially this early in the generation. Like their sales has declined, calmed down, back to earth. It's like leveling out at Xbox One levels, whereas PlayStation is thriving, Nintendo is thriving. And the issue is, and I'll say up front, obviously, issue is games, right? We know games are coming this year, and this year is they got a ton of games coming out this year, but obviously, historically, though, it's been games. The other is pop culture, popularity, the type of games they're, partnering with, and marketing. Xbox has probably the worst marketing of all the platforms. The problem is Xbox don't market their games. They don't believe in traditional advertising. You can go and watch the NBA playoffs or, the NFL playoffs, and you can see a commercial for PlayStation VR, or one of their recent games. You'll see something. PlayStation still puts their stuff on Jump Street. You can walk the streets of New York, and you can see a billboard for a Spider-Man or a Horizon or whatever, God of War. You can see, PlayStation's painting subways, or like they do things for the average person who still watches TV or still reads a magazine or rides the bus and commutes and stuff like that, where their product is there. Same thing with Nintendo. PlayStation also partners with, games, Star Wars, Harry Potter, Spider-Man, Marvel, Wolverine, cultural, figures, cultural brands, popular brands that they link with, to do things with. So Xbox is like, they got a lot of partnership. They partner with a lot of games, a lot of indies and stuff like that. But PlayStation is partnering with the people we actually care about. If for example, if there is a Mandalorian game that's coming, I won't be surprised if PlayStation already got the deal with it. If there is a obviously you got the Super Mario Brothers, which came out in the movie theaters, which was a banger and really good. I recommend you see it. Nintendo, that's automatic sales for Nintendo. I won't be surprised if Mario Galaxy and Super Smash Brothers return to the top of the charts again just because of this movie. It's just natural things, right? Think about it. Yeah, Xbox tried to do the thing. They did the thing with the Halo. That was a failure. PlayStation got The Last of Us. That Halo Paramount Plus crap didn't help Halo or Xbox at all. It helped Paramount, did not help Halo the game, did not help Xbox the platform. The Last of Us, because it didn't premiere on no streaming platform, Paramount Plus, it premiered on HBO, things that people still have access to via cable, or if you could stream. The Last of Us helped The Last of Us, the games, both the remaster and part 1, and maybe even part 2, I think got some benefits of that, in which, because it helped those games, it also helped the PlayStation. It also helped the PC release. So it's just smart moves, marketing beats that, you know, PlayStation and Nintendo is able to do to elevate their IPs, to elevate their games, which elevates their platforms. Xbox makes decisions as if they're already like, as if they already have like some sort of monopoly or like strong brand recognition. So for example, right, Xbox goal, even though we understand that Xbox has pivoted to like, all right, you know, we don't have the most popular console, but we have Game Pass, which is a subscription which we could sell on consoles, PC, mobile, and cloud, right? So there's more of that than there is a single console, right? That's their thinking. But the problem is right now, Game Pass isn't really strong. That strong. It's not Netflix. It's not Disney Plus. It doesn't have that oomph. You can't just say Game Pass yet. Where Netflix, we know what we're talking about. Disney, Hulu, we know what we're talking about, right? Game Pass isn't there yet. And it can't get there yet because right now, even though you have other access to Game Pass, the primary access to Game Pass is console and PC. And the problem is Xbox isn't selling enough consoles to sell enough Game Pass. Like, you have to sell consoles to sell Game Pass. Like, so for Game Pass has to be 1-to-1 for every console you sell. That should be a new Game Pass subscription. PC is a little bit harder because PC there is a whole storefront in itself. You got Steam, you got Epic, whatever. Game Pass is an option, but you don't anticipate converting every PC gamer into a Game Pass gamer. That's not going to happen. You know, you're going to get a piece of the pie, but you're not going to get a large piece of the pie. The console has to be the driving force. So if Xbox had 30, 40, 50 million consoles sold and 40, 50 million Game Pass subscribers, then you could start making those other decisions and really trying to drive force, because you have to have a strong base. But right now, the Game Pass base isn't strong because they're not selling consoles. And they're not selling consoles because Xbox isn't marketing. Xbox can get a brand new game, right? Like, for example, Redfall. Only Redfall advertising that I've seen has been limited to Twitter and I think Metacritic website and How Long to Beat. I've seen banners of Redfall. I have not seen a commercial for Redfall on regular TV. I have not seen any posters. Now, I haven't been to GameStop in about a few weeks, but I guarantee you, if I walk into a GameStop today, I'm not going to see a big, huge Redfall banner plastered all over the store in Best Buys and Target and stuff like that. Something I would expect PlayStation to do, because they do that. They bring in these big Kratos posters or Aloy posters. They put it in retail stores and they take out an end cap and they have their games, right? Xbox doesn't do that because Xbox barely believes in retail games. Xbox has silently stop the sale of physical games. So there's a couple games that came out from Xbox, I want to say dating back to last year. Grounded does not have a physical release. Pentiment does not have a physical release. Hi-Fi Rush doesn't have a physical release. You can search these games on different websites and try to order a physical version, and physical versions of these games don't exist. Sure, you can buy them or you can play them on Game Pass, but physical disc versions of these games do not exist. And Xbox latest game, Ghostwire Tokyo, which launched on the PlayStation 5 first last year, which also has a physical version, does not have a physical version for the Xbox console, which is highly disappointing. It's like, I get it, I get it, but it doesn't make sense. The thing is that what you're doing is, okay, you're not going to sell physical games, but now you're reducing the exposure of these games. Sure, people are going to download these games on Game Pass. People who are within the ecosystem will download an Xbox store. But at the end of the day, what about the kid still working into the store? There's still people that still walk in and buy the disc. People still go to GameStops across the country and buy even used games. Like, that's you still want exposure. So if you're not selling physical games you're reducing your exposure. So Microsoft is not advertising effectively. They're not advertising their games. They're not advertising their consoles. Therefore, their consoles are not selling as well as Nintendo, not selling as well as PlayStation, and their games aren't selling as well as PlayStation. Let me take you back when Xbox last had games, 2021. Forza Horizon 5 and Halo Infinite both charted the months that they released. I think Halo was number 2, only behind Call of Duty in December of 2021, and Forza Horizon 5 was top 5. It was a top 5. I don't know if it was number 5 or number 4 or whatever. It was a top 5 release, despite being on Game Pass. Despite, because they had physical presence, there were discs in the store you could buy. There was marketing efforts for those two games, and the thing is Microsoft, people saying Xbox has no games, they don't have no big blockbusters like Spider-Man and God of War and Horizon and stuff. Sure, they can get those type of games, and I'm pretty confident, like Starfield's gonna be that, and Hellblade can be that. The only thing about those games could be is good, they can be flawless, they can be 9s out of 10s, they can be 10s out of 10s, they can be 8.5 out of 10. I do not trust Microsoft and the Xbox team to actually market those games to a degree to make people actually wants to go out. You can sell any game. You can literally sell any game you want to with marketing effort. There's been tons of bad games that sold very well. There's been tons of bad games that sold very well. Because what? They had effective marketing. Xbox is in this situation where they only want to promote on Twitter. They only want to promote on YouTube. They only want to promote within their dashboard, which is extremely limited, and it's the wrong way. And what they're doing is they're boxing themselves in, and they're not giving themselves the exposure they need. So Game Pass can't grow unless they sell the Xbox consoles. They have to sell them. They have to sell them at a high clip. And not only that, Game Pass can't grow without the big games. But the big games will come, but they still have to advertise those games effectively. And then I asked myself, like the title of this video, has Microsoft failed the Xbox Series X and S? I don't know. Probably, but if I'm judging it 2 years in, I'm going to say yes, because the Xbox consoles their sales chart should be constantly going up. They were up and now they're going down. Their output has been embarrassingly poor for a new generation console, and it doesn't seem like Microsoft cares. They're doing all this catering to PCs, like they're doing PC and mobile, and they have to. If you're gonna go at all these platforms, you have to go at them evenly. You can't prioritize PC. You can't prioritize mobile. You have to go at them evenly, because at the end of the day, you release consoles. I'm assuming you release consoles, you want to sell them. And this is not a rant video about, the other thing that Xbox is doing, and this is probably a different video, is that they're not tapping in to the potential of their consoles. They have the Series S, obviously it is what it is. It's the weaker console, but it still has tech that haven't been tapped into yet. The Xbox Series X is a very powerful console, and they're not tapping into it. And my problem is it's one thing that is third-party publishers aren't doing it, or third-party developers aren't doing it, but your first party has to tap into it. Xbox first party, based off what their machine can do, their first party games should all offer 60 FPS or better, ray tracing, and they should be all running at the highest resolutions possible. And none of Xbox first party games have delivered that. We know what happened with Redfall running at 4K 30 FPS on console, but I'm probably on PC. I will likely be able to get 60 FPS with equal hardware or lesser hardware than the Xbox Series X, no problem. And that's where it becomes very problematic. They prioritize too much other crap. Like, obviously, Deathloop and, Ghostwire they had to honor those agreements, but it's like they bring those games over. They don't bring those games over to Xbox graciously. You want to treat it like an event. Like, we got these games. Not only that, we got the bonuses and whatnot, and it has to have effective marketing. They have not had effective marketing on their games, not effective marketing on their consoles, and that's all on Xbox. It's not Microsoft. That's the Xbox team, the current team they got in place that's in charge of marketing are horrible for Xbox. They're because they're not effectively marketing. They don't know how to make people want to play their games. They're not making people interested in their games. They're not making people want to play their games. They're not making a big spectacle of their games. PlayStation makes a big spectacle out of their games, making people want to play. Even if you weren't interested in games, there's a ton of games that PlayStation. I knew games are coming out for PlayStation, but once PlayStation's marketing starts to get in the gear, I'm like, I kind of want to play that. Microsoft doesn't do that, and their marketing team sucks. I'm sorry. I know they got a lot of people from Netflix over, but they're the stuff that they're doing with the people, the talent that they got from like Netflix and all these other subscription services, it hasn't translated because like, yeah, you're marketing Game Pass and whatnot, but there's a whole lot there that you need to do to improve that. We need the games. We need the consoles need to be available, and there needs to be awareness. And Xbox is marketing as if they're at like the peak point, right? You hit that peak point, and then they're even kill marketing where they're not hungry marketing. They're marketing like, hey, we got a product we want you to buy. Oh, we got a subscription service we want you to subscribe. It's like, I'm like, no, dude, you guys got to treat this as a startup. And when you're at a startup, that's when you're going to spend most of your money. That's when you're going to be out there talking to people in different avenues and broadcasting your products, and they just not doing it. And it's embarrassing to see it. And that's why the Xbox Series X and S is suffering. They're not selling as well as they should be. Their games aren't coming out as often as they should be. And Game Pass is not thriving as it should be because it is the best deal in gaming. But most people don't know it because they're not. If the only advertising you're getting on Game Pass is Twitter and YouTube. I don't see Game Pass commercials on TV. I don't see Game Pass commercials during the NBA playoffs or during a big show. Like, these are things PlayStation does and Microsoft doesn't, and you wonder, it's like, well, why? Like, and it doesn't bother me personally that they don't like advertise that. That's just on them. It's just like, but as a platform holder, you know, we want you to be successful, but you have to actually work to be successful. And Xbox advertising and their marketing has been garbage. Their output has been below average, mediocre, and I don't really trust them to release Starfield and Redfall and even Hellblade properly, because sure, they'll come out, they'll be good, but I think the awareness is going to be low unless Bethesda's marketing team is going to kick in and do the marketing themselves, because Xbox marketing team has been atrocious. They need Apple marketing. They need PlayStation type marketing. They need people who actually Coca-Cola, somebody from Coca-Cola or Budweiser come in and do the marketing for them, because Xbox marketing sucks because you don't know. It's not popular. Like I said, it's outside of marketing. It's also their partnerships. They don't go with the pop culture. They don't run and jump on the Harry Potters and the Spider-Mans and the Mandalorians and all this other stuff that's there that you can literally tap into, you can grab and take advantage of and promote your product. They don't do that. And you got PlayStation and Nintendo who have IPs that's popular, and they did the perfect route. You got PlayStation who did The Last of Us on HBO. Great partnership, great program. HBO, who doesn't know of HBO? Nintendo, straight to the movies. Partner with the people that did the Minions and Despicable Me. It was not going to fail. Microsoft went with like an unproven fucking streaming service, Paramount Plus. All these, I would have rather just gone with Netflix at that point. Would have gone Netflix Stars or something. They went with Paramount Plus. But that's the video, guys. I know I sound very like upset, but I just wanted to get my intake because I know a lot of people are talking about the sales or the lack of sales of Xbox, and I blame that solely on their game releases or lack thereof and their marketing efforts. They have allowed PlayStation to become the popular brand, the Apple brand in gaming. Like, you know what I mean? It's like most people, like, for example, people want a phone. Oh, I want an iPhone. It's just the brand to have. PlayStation. When games, oh, I want a PlayStation. You know what I mean? It's not that Xbox is bad. It's just that PlayStation is just more popular, and the thing is, they're gonna maintain that because they make smart decisions. You know, they partner with shit that's popular. Xbox partner with shit that's niche. But that's my video, man. Xbox is the best box, and I am the best bot. Good night or good morning if you're on the other side of the globe. I'm out of here. Peace.